South Florida is known for its wild nightlife, culture, and sandy beaches. Unsurprisingly, people travel from all parts of the world to visit. But people are not the only ones who have ventured across oceans to this glamorous part of the United States. As a Florida resident, there's much to be answered about these lizards, like where did they come from, and how did they get here, and why have they overtaken South Florida's backyards, parks, and just about every nook and cranny. We sought out the answers close to home, having our very own Matt Wetcher video chat with South Florida's local and wildlife conservationist, Chandler Kamenish, to get all the answers.
The curly-tailed lizards are a non-native species, like most of the reptiles, birds, plants, and everything crawling around here. A lot of stuff is introduced. The curly-tailed lizards are originally a Caribbean species, so throughout the Bahamas you can find them on the islands. And in between all the boats coming back and forth, and also storms, I think it was in like the 1970s or 1980s or something like that, where they started to come in large numbers because they're coming off of boats and whatnot, and they ended up on our paved roads and whatnot, crawling between the houses, and over time the population has built. Just like the Burmese python, just like the green iguanas, they've been introduced. And because of that, the climate out here is the same as down in the Caribbean, so they breed like crazy and they eat like crazy.
Funny enough, even the origins of these lizards have sparked controversy, some believing they were brought here in the 1940s by sugarcane farmers to combat pests. Though some internet sites and South Floridians claim this, it wouldn't explain the very obvious uprise in the curly-tail population over the last decade, which is why it is widely accepted that their growth is due to import and export from the Bahamas.
From the Bahamas, doing all kinds of stuff, and also to build resorts and this and that, which involves moving to, ships and large portions of dry land that they could be on. If it's going to be on a boat, let's say somebody brings a bunch of equipment to the Bahamas, and they load off a bunch of equipment, and they're using it there, then they bring it back on the boat, they bring it back to America. You're going to have lizards and stuff that are crawling on that boat if that boat's hanging out there too long. Or if people are just trying to take things back from the Bahamas, like plants or something like that, they might have lizards on them, and that's how we get the animals over here. And that's part of the reason that you get random weird things like certain spiders from other countries on bananas that get shipped into the country, That's how a lot of invasive species get spread around.
As the old saying goes, if you can't beat 'em, join 'em. Residents all across South Florida have embraced the curly-tail lizards, creating YouTube videos and TikTok pages dedicated to the little critters. Florida resident and YouTuber Cody has a page called Cody Does Florida, where he has an entire mini documentary dedicated just to the curly-tailed lizard.
To hang out in and stay hidden from predators. There's even water from my leaking hose that they can drink when they need it. Here we have our first curly-tailed lizard. He's hanging out, enjoying the shelter from predators, and actually let me get pretty close for this video. These lizards are a few inches long and part of the iguana family. They eat mostly insects and smaller lizards, but they have been known to eat flowers and other vegetation too.
Due to their growing population and popularity, curly-tails have found themselves with their very own search engine on TikTok, where you can scroll for hours and watch all the curly content your heart desires.
That gave the tank a final misting to help settle everything in place. Now I let the little dude check out his new habitat. Really pleased with how it came out. It looks really natural. With all the moss and foliage to hide in, I think the lizard is going to really enjoy it. He really likes chilling on this little bamboo log. And yes, I know I edited the lizard before I put in a water bowl, but don't think that I forgot. And here's how the setup looks from the front. Does anybody have any name suggestions for my little curly-tailed lizard? Leave them in the comments down below.
Oh! Yeah! Oh, I got that! Oh my god, I got that!
Nice cat.
Woo!
Check that out. Wow.
I wonder what the bite force is on those guys.
Ready? Not that bad.
As we visited residents across South Florida to get a better understanding of how curly-tails have affected residential areas, we stumbled across Julie Friedman. She shared some funny anecdotes on how curly-tails have become a part of everyday life here in South Florida.
Over the last few months, I noticed that there's a lot more of these curly-tailed lizards, especially around my house, my backyard, and there's one particular curly-tailed lizard that I swear is there every single day. And every time that we sit down, this lizard seems to just pop up out of this plant pot holder that I have, and I think it's the same lizard every day. And it's kind of funny because we kind of like, it's become our little pet, and it's really, really cute.
When you hear the words invasive species, you think of the dangers they may pose to your ecosystem, like the Burmese pythons down in the Everglades. But if we have learned anything, it's that that's not always the case. Curly-tailed lizards may be annoying to Florida residents, but they do not pose any harm. So next time you are walking to your front door and one scurries between your feet, don't freak out, because they're just trying to enjoy the same beautiful tropical climate and lands as you.